Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the news from Saba Satellite Channel from Marib. Let's begin with the headlines.
Presidential Leadership Council reviews economic, military and security developments.
Strategic Health Dialogue calls for stronger emergency readiness and sustainable health reform.
Human rights alarm in Yemen. 40,000 violations against women by Houthis spark global condemnation.
We begin tonight from Aden, where the Presidential Leadership Council met in Aden on Tuesday, chaired by President Rashad Al Alimi, with members participating in person and via video link. The meeting was also attended by Prime Minister Salim Saleh bin Praik and Defense Minister Mohsen Al-Dairi.
The session reviewed updates on the economic, service, military and security situation, along with progress in the government's comprehensive reform program. The PLC welcomed improvements in the national currency and basic commodity prices, stressing the need to build on these gains.
The Defense Minister reported on operational readiness, including the demisulating of terrorist cells linked to the Houthi militias. The Council praised the armed forces for their sacrifices and high combat preparedness.
And from the health sector, participants in Yemen's Strategic Health Dialogue Conference in Aden stressed the need to strengthen the Ministry of Health's capacities in surveillance, emergency readiness and institutional leadership.
The conference, organized by the Ministry of Health in partnership with the UK's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, brought together major donors, United Nations agencies and health organizations to review sector priorities and future financing scenarios.
Opening the conference on behalf of the Prime Minister, Planning Minister Waad Badib described the dialogue as a critical milestone for rebuilding a resilient health system. He emphasized governance reforms, investment in the health workforce, and prioritizing essential services, including maternal and child health, routine immunization, primary care, epidemic control, and therapeutic nutrition.
Health Minister Qasim Buhaybeh noted that 19.5 million Yemenis still require health support, half of them children under 5, and outlined 5 priorities for the upcoming National Health Strategy, including emergency preparedness, supply chain stability, and sustainable financing.
And continuing from Aden's diplomatic engagements, Foreign Minister Shai Zindani held separate meetings in the interim capital Aden with the ambassadors of South Korea and India, focusing on strengthening Yemen's international partnerships. In talks with Korean Ambassador Do Boing-kai, the minister reviewed bilateral cooperation and expressed gratitude for the Seoul's consistent support for the legitimate government, especially in education, health and humanitarian relief over the past 2 years to bolster essential services and humanitarian operations. The minister then met with India's Ambassador Sohail Ijaz Khan, where both sides discussed expanding political, economic and consular cooperation. Zindani welcomed India's reopening of its consular office in Aden, describing it as a significant step toward revitalizing mobility, trade and community services for Yemeni and Indian nationals. He also praised India's latest medical assistance, a $2 million shipment of essential medicines delivered to the Ministry of Health. And also in Aden, Minister of Planning and International Cooperation Waad Badib met with the South Korea's Ambassador Boing-kai-do to discuss enhancing bilateral cooperation and advancing joint development programs. Badib praised Korea's long-standing support through KOICA in infrastructure, vocational training and education, and highlighted recent Korean contributions via UN agencies, including food assistance through the World Food Programme and UNDP projects supporting women's empowerment and justice services in Aden and Hadramaut.
He called for expanding cooperation in renewable energy, digital governance, institutional capacity building, health and water, and urged reopening direct coordination channels with KOICA. The Korean ambassador reaffirmed Seoul's interest in strengthening ties and reviving Korean investment in Yemen's oil and gas sectors while supporting economic stabilization and recovery.
Turning now to Yemen's international economic relations, Yemen's Central Bank Governor Ahmed Ghalib met today in Aden with Russia's ambassador to Yemen, Yevgeny Kudrov, to discuss cooperation in financial and economic sectors. The talks focused on enhancing coordination between Yemen's and Russia's central banking institutions to advance the mutual interests of the two friendly countries. Officials emphasized the importance of continued dialogue to strengthen bilateral financial ties.
Continuing our coverage of Yemen's human rights situation, Minister of Endowments Mohammed Shabiba has sharply condemned Houthi trials, describing them as instrument of political repression and societal intimidation. Speaking to the Yemen news agency Saba, he said the trials violate Islamic principles that forbid injustice and the shedding of innocent blood. He stressed that the sentences represent a continuation of widespread crimes targeting the Yemeni people.
Highlighting the ideological and sectarian motives, the minister called these practices as a dangerous abuse of authority that threatens social unity and moral values. Shabiba urged citizens to reject silence or justification of such acts, support the oppressed, and strengthen societal awareness and unity. He emphasized that standing against this tyranny is a moral, religious, and national duty to protect Yemen's society.
Turning now to Yemen's diplomatic engagement in China. Yemen's Deputy Foreign Minister for Financial and Administrative Affairs, Awsan Al-Aoud, met in Beijing today with Chen Weiqing, Director of West Asia and North Africa Affairs, to discuss ways to enhance bilateral cooperation and support peace, security and development in Yemen.
Al-Aoud praised China's ongoing support for Yemen's constitutional legitimacy and its programs for training Yemeni diplomatic staff, which strengthen the country's diplomatic capabilities. In a related development, Al-Aoud inaugurated the new automated passport center at Yemen's embassy in Beijing. The facility aims to streamline passport assurance and improve consular services for Yemenis living and studying in China.
Ambassador Mohammed Al-Maytami expressed appreciation for the support of both the Yemeni and Chinese authorities, emphasizing the embassy commitment to serving the Yemeni community efficiently and maintaining strong bilateral coordination.
In another shocking and critical human rights report, the Yemeni Women Empowerment Foundation says Houthi militias have committed more than 40,000 violations against women across the country since 2015.
The report details arrests, kidnaps, torture, killings from shelling, sniper attacks and injuries from landmines, as well as cases of rape and targeted attacks on families. Women also make up nearly half of nearly 4 million internally displaced people. YWEF highlights the systematic dismissal of female employees and replacement with militia loyalists, describing these acts as part of a deliberate strategy to intimidate society and weaken women's rules.
The foundation calls on the UN and international community to investigate the abuses, impose sanctions on Houthi leaders, protect women and girls, and provide legal and psychological support for victims.
In international reactions to Houthi actions, the United States, the United Kingdom, and France have condemned the recent arbitrary death sentences issued by the Houthi militias against Yemeni citizens. A joint statement from the three embassies described these so-called trials as indirect and a clear and a clear example of the imitation of tracks employed by the militias against the Yemeni people.
The statement also condemned Houthis' arbitrary arrests and called for the immediate and unconditional release of all UN staff, NGO workers and diplomatic personnel held by the militias. The international community stresses the need to uphold justice and protect civilians in Yemen.
In education and women's empowerment, a 3-day workshop on empowering girls in decision-making has started today in Yemen's interim capital, Aden. The targeting is organized by the National Committee for Education, Culture and Science with support from the Arab Organization for Education, Culture and Science, ALEXO. 30 participants from education institutions in Aden, Lahj and Abiyan will receive training on self-development, personality analysis, confidence building, communication skills and emotional intelligence.
At the opening, Hafiza al-Sheikh, Secretary General of the National Committee, emphasized that the workshop aims to guide communities, organizations and government institutions to provide girls and women with greater access to education and professional leadership opportunities. Officials say the initiative is part of broader efforts to strengthen women's participation in decision-making and public life. This has been the news from Saba Satellite Channel from Marib. Thank you for watching and have a good time.
Have a good time.